Jesus explains free will and consequences. Why must the book of Revelation be fulfilled? March 16th, 2015. Words from Jesus through Sister Clare, spoken by Jackie. Clare began, "O Lord, what is it? Sometimes I feel it so strongly that you're coming any moment. Then other days it fades off into the distance and it's business as usual. It's human nature. I don't like it. Oh, it is so painful not knowing when. It is painful for me knowing what I have to. I do not want the book of Revelation to be fulfilled, but it has to be so, that I can come and rule the earth. It is not my will, but my Father's will that must be done, even though I fully realize the necessity for it all. Nonetheless, it is so very deeply painful to me that these things must come to pass. But they're not meant for your eyes, my love. You don't need to be convinced the way the rest of the world does. My brides have already gathered to my side, awaiting my coming for them. It is the obstinate ones, full of pride and self-reliance and self-satisfaction, blinded by various desires and lusts. They are the ones Revelation must be fulfilled for. Wow, Lord, they must be serious hard cases for all you have to go through to convince them. Anyone who would use the bowels of the earth to breed dreadful animals, plagues and pestilences, such as they have done for the control of the world, well, yes, they need serious attitude adjustments. Nothing short of what I've planned will work for them. Don't you think that the Father and I have pondered all the different options and come up with the least damaging? Yes, I suppose so. Although being God, you don't have to ponder. Yes, well, we do have conversations. We truly do. There are so many things to take into consideration. Looking at just one, I gave them clean technology decades ago, but rather they chose something they could fight over. Selfish ambition is so strong in them. They are totally blind to even their own good and the good of their children. So many of the world's problems revolve around this one thing, but they couldn't accept a free energy source. No, they had to suppress that and take that source to make a weapon of war and destruction with it, but deprive mankind of the benefit of energy, free energy. Do you see how perverted they are? I do, Lord, but it is a shame that innocent mankind must suffer. But mankind is not innocent, from the highest to the lowliest. Pornography, slave labor, sex trade, stealing from the poor what little they have, and the poor stealing from each other. The whole barrel is rotten from the bottom up. It is the selfish nature of man that must be regulated by God. Man cannot regulate man because he is so prone to corruption, so weak and easily persuaded to do what is wrong for his own gain. So you see, it must come down to this. I must return and replenish the whole earth, destroying the rot and corruption, pollution and degradation that man has created for himself. It won't be long now. Please hang in there, my little one. It won't be long. Oh Jesus, it seems like forever, and every day I grow older and more disillusioned by the burgeoning corruption found everywhere. I know, but I've given you stamina, and you will hold up under these things as you have been. I will not let you fall or collapse. I hold you up, my love. So what did you want to talk about tonight? The necessity of consequences. So many attribute to me, but should be attributed to man and Satan. This is not fair. I know that, but for some reason they just can't bring themselves to see how responsible every human on earth is for the approaching consequences. It is like a drunkard who continually blames his problems on others, when in fact his problems have been created by him and him alone. So rather than point out the culprits, it's just easier to blame it on me. They always cite the way you had the Israelites kill every man, woman, and child as they took over the Promised Land. Yes, because they were not present when the demons mated with the women, when the babies were offered up into the red-hot brass cauldrons for their god, Moloch, or Satan. They were not present when these little infants screamed the horrors of pain. They were not present when everything they owned was consecrated to Satan. They did not see that the cancerous spiritual disease was implanted in every man, woman, and child. At least the innocent children are in heaven with me. Had they grown up, they surely would be in hell with the rest of their family for torturing and brutally murdering innocent children. There is so much the world doesn't see or know. Now it's much easier to just blame God and go on with a sinful lifestyle, having justified their choices because God is not just or worth listening to or obeying. Not all have this mindset. Some are living a righteous life, but still condemn me for religious wars and the like. They don't see the real set of fingers pulling the strings. But the ones who love me do. They recognize the difference between good and evil. They know me well enough to trust that if I lay the sword to a group of people, it is because those people are hell-bent on living for Satan and propagating his way of life. And even at that, the Israelites still embraced pagan ways and even incorporated them into my temple, and thus their downfall. You cannot mix good and evil. They cancel one another out. It was bound to happen that the Pharisees would become crooked, because for the sake of money and influence, Solomon and others allowed them to build secret chambers to honor their God. It was bound for destruction with the first pagan woman Solomon took as wife. Let that be a lesson to you, how one bad apple can ruin the whole barrel. There is nothing quite like the beauty and comfort of a woman. It has shaped the course of history and been the downfall of many a civilization. So when I'm blamed for the evil in this world, it is out of ignorance and pride. Man does not know or understand what he has done to himself. And of course, he does not want to be frustrated or corrected, so he kicks against the goat. He blames me to justify his continuing sinful life. This, my love, is why I must fulfill the prophecies in the book of Revelation. Man must see what he has done to himself and where it has finally led him. Nothing I do is out of wrath, in the sense that man experiences wrath. For him, it is retaliation. For me, it is education, painful education, but they must sleep in the bed they made. Even at that, there are so many things I've prevented that would have been horrendous, but because of my mercy, they were negated. So much will become clear to you in heaven. You will come to understand so much. So, just be aware, what is coming was not my choice, it was theirs. It was not my retaliation, it was their consequences. It was not done out of hatred for man, but out of love, to bring them to their senses. Everything I do has love for its motive. Not one thing is done for any other reason. Even conscripting souls to hell, this is what they wanted. This was their choice to make. Who am I to override free will? I gave it to man so he could be free to choose good from evil. What more could I do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's a pity people are so blind that they can't see. You are not the author of their problems. They are, along with Satan's help. So now we've come to that decisive point in history where all things must be made right again. Pride and arrogance must be exposed. Corruption must be purged. Men must be given again a new chance to choose right from wrong. I'm coming. It is time.